So, not sure where it's all, where these are coming from, but that is the current situation. We're still hearing booms, and I'm trying to rotate my camera here. There we go. There's another boom. One of the PX gas stations is on fire. That's possible, but I don't know how it explains all of this, but it may have caught on fire as a result. And there's a new, so this is where we're seeing new booms and then black smoke. This is a text from somebody that we know very well, who's very interlaced into the community, saying they're trying to burn the Guadalupe Church, which is our large cathedral. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm not on that side to witness what's happening there.
Thanks. I'm trying to stay safe. I don't feel like I'm in the risk right now. The minute I do, I'll be out of here. They hear the bangs.
Yeah, hearing another bang in the distance, coming somewhere from Emiliano Zapata. Once again, another plume of black smoke. And so I mentioned the other church is back on the other side. And I don't know if that is near where these explosions are happening. I do know that's what's in that direction. There's a building blocking it. So I can't tell you that for sure. We were yesterday at the Church del Refugio, which is the one, La Señora del Refugio, which is the one in Cinco de Diciembre. We were there for a wedding yesterday, a Mexican wedding. I don't have any sense of what's happening right now with any of the churches. So still some isolated smoke down below.
What's going on? There are a number of fires set. Probably the ones I see, probably 6 or 8 fires that we set around Portobello here, at least from my vantage point.
This one seems to be the most recent and the darkest smoke. Still hearing explosions in the distance. Once again, not being able to discern if it's coming from a secondary or a primary source.
Oddly, not a whole lot of sirens. I've heard one set of sirens go by. You think
And there's a new plume of black smoke down there, so that is a new one. That area, what's down around over there, I do know there's, that's not too far from the Oasis, AWAYSIS, but it's a not, it's still pretty, it's maybe a few buildings away from where that latest one is. It's not far from the bridge. You know, I initially mentioned that I don't think any of these are in Coloso. Coloso is pretty much on the back side of the Oasis, those big units there. But where we're seeing that over there, maybe closer to where the kind of approaching the bridge. I do know that there are buses that come down through that area. So I certainly hope that's not anything there. There's another new plume of black smoke. So a lot of the black smoke I see coming from this area behind that orange building across the river. You know, I'm terrible with street names here. I know Vallarta by feel. I know Vallarta by the landmarks. And so this is all very concerning. Vallarta has always had a very safe feel to it. Very carefree. This is not anything I've ever experienced here. So if I try to, yeah, once again, just figuring out where things are. There was a church on the other side of that. And then this is maybe a block or so up. There have been several explosions from that area. The original fire explosion that I saw was up closer to Soho, which is the big white building behind. And
check that out, because there's one going before. I can see two side by side. Stuff's still going on.
So once again, any of you guys who are watching, if you have other sources, we're just giving you our updates from our vantage point. Here just north of the Quella River, there's a new explosion that just happened. You can see the extra plumes of smoke there, black smoke. We are sitting out here. I have decided to put I've got my N95 mask. I still have masks here from COVID. I put that on just to be sitting outside because my guess is that all smoke in the air is not, probably not pouring that great of stuff into the air. But if anybody has heard news from official sources, not just from I heard this somewhere, or if you have actually seen some other video footage. All right, Susanna says she's in the marina and fires are here too. So once again, very concerning that this is an isolated incident. None of these were isolated. That was pretty from the beginning. But checking I have an app on my phone called Citizen, and it tells you where there's stuff going down. And it's people report it, and it ends up on the app. So there was a report of a structure fire, but it was on the other side. Just heard a new explosion, and I just saw some black smoke coming from behind. So just really, really disturbing. These are all areas and places we walk regularly. All these streets could easily be part of my morning walk. Or as I'm walking through town, and there's new explosions going on over in this area, which is why I'm pointing in this direction. Somehow the sun is out. But coming back over, these were the two new explosions. Still hearing explosions.
This is such quiet, beautiful originally.
All right, so if you're just joining Vallarta, which I'm showing you the romantic zone right here, and this is kind of where things started. But we have kind of the same activity happening from what I'm gathering. And once again, I can only give you what I'm witnessing, but from kind of text from some of our friends on the other side of the hill, there seem to be car explosions that are being set off throughout the city. And a lot of these happening around, there's a large concentration that are happening down in this area, and just kind of where this area is. The 200 freeway kind of runs right through there, past where Soho is. That's where the original fires and explosions that I saw at about an hour, 15 minutes ago was when all this started. But now there seems to be explosions up in the marina, up in Cinco de Diciembre. So different areas that are north of the northern parts of Vallarta. And there's a big hill, so I can't see past that. One of our friends had mentioned that they're trying to church. I don't know. I don't have any official footage reporting of that. Like I said, I'm going real time here on my camera, so I can't look and see what else is happening. And as I've mentioned, I'm not making any assumptions on spreader of rumors. I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. The one thing that has been odd and consistent has been, even from the initial explosions and smoke, I mean, not knowing that they were actually coming from probably car explosions, but there was only for a brief time did we hear sirens. There have been very few sirens that we have heard for fire. And that's, fire is one of those places where gas tanks explode, a big boom somewhere, and then you'll hear sirens almost, pretty soon after that. This is odd. So it probably took an hour before we actually heard a siren. So that is one of the oddities, besides the fact that this is happening in our paradise here. That's a relatively new explosion there. You can tell by the color of the smoke. And that is coming from, that's near, so here's the quality comes up and there's Buenos Aires that direction. There is a bridge that connects Coloso and the romantic zone. That is in that area. I don't know exactly where, but that is, oh, and I actually see flames, actual flames coming from that one. That's the first time I've seen actual flames. So there's likely an actual structure that's on fire on that one, where I think the other ones have been probably isolated to whatever's on the street burning. That may be an actual structure. That is not far from, and I believe it's by where the bridge is. Sometimes there's a lot of, you can't tell anymore what's AI and what's not. But it looked like there were flames coming from the Guadalupe church, but the original, all of this originally started on the south side here. So I don't know if that was a distraction, but I think and I don't want to make any assumptions. I'm not making any assumptions because I don't have information until I see it with my own eyes.
So Ada, what have you heard?
Well, just seeing that we just received from, some people that are, in the know. There's a drone shot that looked like pictures of actual fire, like flames coming from buildings. But that, I don't know. Once again, in this day and age of altered photos,
Yes.
it looked a little bit like it doesn't seem consistent with what I'm seeing.
Here?
So I don't know if I'm only reporting what I see. And I don't know that I'm not going to say I don't believe that, but I don't know if it's an altered photo. I don't know what the source of that photo, if that was, they took it themselves. If they say, hey, I just took this picture, that's one thing. But I don't know if they got that off the internet.
Okay.
Then I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's the thing. This right here, this is accurate.
So,
this is what I'm seeing.
You can see that. So Ada's on Living Simply Mexico or YouTube.
That's what I just heard from a text. So, anyways, so we'll just.
Yeah, I see that drone shot too. I don't know if it's real.
That drone shot looks a little bit altered to me, and it's not consistent with the smoke we're seeing.
Yes.
So I don't know that was. I don't know that I believe that. Like I said, it's more. And even reports that I'm getting from the people we know, they're the same people sending the drone shots. So it's like I'm not.
It's happening in all of Felico. That is crazy.
Yeah.
If that's the case, this is happening in all of Felico. That is crazy. We're asking people to stay indoors. That's why we heard as well. It's crazy how quiet it is. I can't tell you.
So we still have that fire going on over there. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna sign off here for a bit and see if I can find out some actual information, and we'll be back.